Welcome, everybody, and good evening to That's Good Pasta, our hopefully not bi-weekly show, apparently, because one of our co-hosts was almost dying. And speaking of, this is my other co-host.
I'm Jared. Sorry, my
We'll
tattoos.
get this. We'll, we'll,
My
we'll get
tattoos
it
all
one day.
crusty and it hurts. I was putting
You,
aquaphor on it.
you know, crusty tattoos. Well, speaking of things that are disgusting, there might be this image from the internet that people are familiar with, and as associated with, I think one of the granddads of the creepy pastas. Would you agree, Jared?
It would probably be on the Mount Rushmore of creepy pastas.
I agree. Along with like um, Jeff the Killer and Slender Man and uh, yeah, this one's the Russian sleep experiment. This is the big one. This is a big this is a big creepy pasta, and I distinctly remember listening to this with Jared for the first time in our apartment when we were, oh, hello, cat. When we were like 21, 20, something like that. Um, and basically our friend Johnny was like, hey, you should listen to this. And so he got out his computer, he put it on his lap, and we proceeded to go through this 16-20 minute video of this terrifying story. And during that time, he's like, it's getting too spooky. We need to look at kittens. And so he pulled up a slideshow of internet cats while this horrific story was being told to our ears. And me and Jared were never quite the same, really. I think it's safe to say this wasn't the first creepypasta we'd ever heard, but this is definitely the one that piqued I think, our collective interest in or spooky internet tales. At least I think so. What about you?
Yeah, this definitely kicked it off. I think we listened to like Annabelle after this, and then
Hmm.
a few others, and then kind of just went our own ways.
Yeah, after this, like both of us were like, this hits a an itch that both me and Jared have for like creepy stories. Um, so we're gonna run through uh the plot of this thing real quick, and Jared, I'll stop periodically so I can get your input on this if you're good with that.
Yeah,
Okay, so the Russian sleep experiment starts in Russia in, I believe, 1940, 46, 45, something like that, right after World War II. And basically these Russian scientists were keeping these political prisoners from World War II and asked that if they would do a experiment of what's a gas to keep them awake. And for if they could do it for 30 days, they would be let go. You could just, uh, clean slate, you're out of here. So they put the prisoners in an airtight chamber
Ziploc
with
fresh.
no, yeah, I got to keep that those juices in. Um, and in this chamber were like tiny windows, like portholes and microphones. And this apparently was before the time of CCTV, closed circuit television, so nobody could actually look into the room that's uh, to see what's going on. So they released the gas, and for let's see, everything was fine for the first 5 days. The subjects hardly complained, having been promised that they would be freed after they had submitted to the 30-day trial. Um, After 5 days, they started to complain about the circumstances and the events that led them to where they are, and start to demonstrate severe paranoia. So they started getting kind of freaked out and uh, kind of start. I think they're starting to go crazy at this point. Um, see, but the researchers suspected that this was the effect of the gas itself. Now, after 9 days, the first of them started screaming, and he ran the length of the chamber, repeatedly yelling at the top of his lungs for 3 hours straight. He continued attempting to scream, but was only able to produce occasional squeaks. And the researchers postulated that he had physically torn his vocal cords.
I
And
love, I love gas. I love
yeah,
gas.
someone get him some gas X. Um, The two non-screaming prisoners took. Oh, sorry. They continued to whisper at the microphones until the second of the captives started to scream.
They were like,
The
I like ass.
the two non-screaming captives took the books apart. Apparently, they put like books and like reading materials in there for the 30-day haul, and smeared page after page with their own feces and pasted them calmly over the portholes so they couldn't see. And the screaming promptly stopped.
Jerks forgot toilet paper.
I know, right? I've been there. It sucks. Um, so Jared, what do you think about this first little part here?
It's good build up.
Build up on that one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's just the gas. You don't know how exactly it's affecting them.
Yeah. It's a I think Wendigoon and Papa Meat said it before. This is kind of like a believable part, I think.
Man, forget
Like,
them. This is what I say.
well, and that's the thing about this one is that I when we listened to this the first time,
Hmm.
I honestly thought this was a real story, like
Yeah.
going right off of it. Until like the end, I was like, okay, maybe not. This seems a little too specific. Um, but the way that they describe a lot of this, and I'm doing a terrible reading of this. I'm very much uh
Breeding.
editing a lot of this. Yeah. And the way that this reads out is almost like an after action report, which again is kind of what creepypastas led into was things after the fact, but this is almost like an official document of what was going on. And so I thought it was real for a brief moment. Um so yeah, anything else to say on this opening part?
No, I do like that it's like you said, still grounded. Um, and I don't think it gets too like out there. Does it? Like,
Not until like the very end,
yeah,
but we'll get to that in a minute. But up until this point, it's almost conceivably like medically possible for something like this to happen
it's kind of
because you
like
think about
exorcists or possessions. It's just
mhm,
like mental breakdowns or like
right
something like
or
that.
like schizophrenia or
Yeah.
wait, what's the other one? But yeah, that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so after 3 more days had passed, the researchers checked the microphones hourly to make sure they were working. Since they thought it was impossible that no sound could be coming from the five people inside, the oxygen consumption in the chamber indicated that all five must still be alive. In fact, the amount of oxygen five people would consume at a very heavy level of strenuous exercise. And on the morning of the 14th day, the researchers did something they would not do to get a reaction from the sorry, did something they said they would not do to get a reaction from the captives. They used the intercom inside the chamber, hoping to provoke any response from the captives. They were afraid they were either dead or vegetables.
Hey, what's going on in there?
Uh, yeah,
Nothing.
what's going on? Y'all veggies? Are there veggie tales in there? Um, so basically, like some more of this kind of creepy, like what do you call it? Uh, Creepy ASMR is still happening on the microphones, and at one point, the researchers decide to go in and open the doors and then but they also were releasing the gas that was keeping these people up and then all the captives started screaming so they began to scream louder than ever and so did the soldiers when they saw what was inside. Four of the five subjects were still alive, although no one could rightly call this state of them life. The food rations, oh, let's see, this
No one could
uh
call this living.
living living it. I don't know how they have it. Um, so there were chunks of meat from the dead test subjects' thighs and chest stuffed into the drains in the center of the chamber, blocking the drain and allowing 4 inches of water to accumulate on the floor. That would be gross, by the
Bro
way.
was thick, dude. They wanted that thigh
Yeah.
meat.
But there, the definition.
That's what happened. He was like, guys, look at this.
Look at this. Eat him.
The other ones were like, oh my god, that look at that ham hock.
Um, let's see. The destruction of flesh and bone exposed on their fingertips indicated that the wounds were inflicted by hand and not with teeth, as the researchers initially thought. Closer examination of the position and angles of the wounds indicated that most, if not all of them, were self-inflicted. So basically, these people are torn up and like basically like disemboweling themselves. They've completely. torn apart one person to use as like matter to
Example.
block, yeah, to block up any kind of area that they thought that the gas could
Could get
escape
out.
from. Yeah. Um, and let's see, the abdominal organs below the rib cage of all four test subjects had been removed, while the heart, lungs, and diaphragm remained in place, and the skin and most of the muscles attached to the ribs had been ripped off, exposing the lungs to the rib cage. I think so. This part, I think, is where they're just trying to expose their lungs
Mm-hmm.
as much as they can to the gas, um, and just like not caring. And I don't know. See, this is where it kind of medic. I was still in this like as a real story right here because if you're crazy like off of something, pain doesn't matter. And
Yeah.
so, and what knocks you out, and I mean, what eventually kills you is blood loss. But if you can withstand the pain, you can survive shock, which
Yeah.
kind of kills you. And so, this is what I thought anyway. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a little too. The organs being out of the body is always like kind of iffy of how long the person's actually alive.
Hmm.
Like example, um, Bone Tomahawk. That
That
guy should have
guy
been
should have
dead
been,
long ago, but he's going to like almost there. He's in half.
yeah, like the pain from that one slice should have just like knocked him out, like
Yeah. Um,
because.
but yeah, since mm, it being them being there that long and they're just like their intestines are hanging out or entrails are hanging out. I don't know.
So
Maybe if it
moving
was
on,
just the lungs exposed, I
yeah, but
believe
not
it.
like the rib cages and stuff, like all
Yeah,
the organs. Yeah. And like some people are like, because I've seen criticism on this, like, oh, how can they be alive if they took the organs out? That's how a C-section works, by the way, is they people cut open your belly and remove the organs and take the baby out. So it is
yeah,
conceivable that that can happen, but
yeah.
them
But
being
you're
out for that
under.
long,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're under, and you have like
pain blockers.
medication and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep. So basically they take these people out, um, and while they're taking, I'm really paraphrasing a lot of this here. While they take these people out, basically the four surviving patients, two of them die pretty much, I think, right away, and the other two are basically wild animals and are like uh, disemboweling or disembowel. I can't pronounce that word. Taking out the organs of other people while trying to like get them uh, to be contained.
Mm.
And at one point, there's this one detail. It's like, oh yeah, and they even uh, cut off the testicle of one of the soldiers by biting it. I'm just like, oh, why? I'm like, okay,
Need that flavor in the text.
yeah, got to get that. What do you call it? Those Colorado oysters or Rocky Mountain
Oys.
oysters. Um, now they did go under surgery to try to
Put
uh,
everything back.
pull all the organs back into there, but apparently the anesthesia wouldn't work because they didn't want to go under go to sleep. And so they performed the surgery without the subjects going to sleep. And uh, let's see if I can get this part here. It's like one terrified nurse assisting the surgery stated that she had seen the patient's mouth curl into a smile several times whenever his eyes met hers. When the surgery ended,
He
the
was
subject looked.
bashful.
I know, like, oh. When the surgery ended, the subject looked at the surgeon and began to wheeze loudly, attempting to talk while struggling. Assuming this to be some sort of drastic importance, the surgeon had a pen and pad fetched so the patient could write his message. It was simple. Keep cutting. Uh, let's see here. Um, so they asked like why these people, or why do you have to remain awake? It says we must remain awake. And I'm trying to get to the whole speech this guy gives because at
Oh,
one
and he's
point
like,
they
"What
have,
are you?"
yeah. So basically, this KGB commander is like obsessed with these people now. He's like, yeah, we got to put these people back on the gas and see what's going on.
Oh
And one of
yeah,
the
he sees like a military like application.
Yeah,
There's always that
exactly. And
one
then
guy. We can use this for
yeah,
the
it's like, we can
army.
use this.
How?
Yeah. Well, it's like when like okay, I love the Alien franchise, but when they're like, it's a bioweapon, we can use this. I'm like, no, 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 we can't. No, that's stupid. Like this is a stupid idea. Um, so one of those soldiers in the KGB has what I had, the same idea. Like, no, this is not a good idea. Kills the commander, and then it says, "I won't be locked in here with these things. Not with you." And he's like, "What are you? I must know." And then one of the subjects smiles and says, "Have you forgotten so easily? We are you. We are the madness that lurks within you, begging to be set free at every moment in your deepest animal mind. We are what you hide from in your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralysis when you go into the nocturnal haven where we cannot tread." The researcher paused, then aimed at the subject's heart and fired, and the EEG flatlined as the subject choked out. So nearly free. And that's where it ends. So, Jared,
What
what are
if
your
you
initial
asked?
thoughts on this ending?
What if you asked a feral human what you are, and then this human monologue like that?
He gives you a monologue from 2007, like some emo monologue. Like, oh, you still understand my pain,
He
bro.
like he hellraisers you right
Yeah,
there in the surgery room.
Amon Chant's box, whatever. I'm like, oh, the box.
To some
Um,
angels, to some demons.
some demons. Damn it, I forgot to wear my. Oh well, I had a horror shirt I was gonna wear, but oh well. Um, this right here. Now I love this part just because it's so emo and so creepy. But this right here is where I lost. Like, okay, this is not a real story.
Yeah,
Okay, I get it. Um, although I will say that this kind of turns from a purely biological story into possibly paranormal, which is kind of a cool take.
yeah.
Um, what about you? What do you think?
When I first heard it, like back in the day, I thought it was demonic. But again, it could be taken demonically, or it could just be like that level of insanity from being awake so long, or maybe his mind warped from everything.
So that's kind of where I'm leaning. Is this is basically the true form of humanity? Is what I think. I think this is what it's trying to say. Is
That's
that
cool. That's always a cool
yeah? That
concept.
it's the fact that this is what we repress every time that we go to sleep. We don't actively engage in our madness,
Yeah,
and the people that do succumb to madness are obviously mad like these people are.
yeah,
But this is, and he goes like, "What are you?" And he says, "We are you." Like this is what you eventually become if you go crazy.
yeah. I do
So
like
I
that concept. That's like it's either humans that are actually tapping into that feral, like we are animals, or humanity is just full of sin. I always do
right.
like that.
Well, and that's the thing is like the demon, the whole like paranormal side that is cool,
Hmm.
but it's never been what I've associated with it
Yeah.
because to me that was always kind of not exactly a cop out, but just like the easier excuse.
Hmm.
And so I like that the fact that humanity is ultimately responsible for this. I was like, yeah, that's cool right there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so what are your favorite parts of this uh this story?
Um, I do like the build up. I do
Hmm.
like the part where it's like they're using the same amount of oxygen as you would if you were just in there, but doing a little bit more extraneous like activities. So you don't know if they're just like working out or something, or just running around in there because they're so like hyped up, or maybe too much adrenaline. They have
Or
the
panicking? Yeah.
yeah. I do like the build up of that. I do. It's hilarious now, but I do like that little speech. Um, it does make me chuckle though. Um,
I think that part is probably what's aged the most out of this whole story as well.
yeah.
You can definitely tell this was like early 2010s like story.
The only negative is that I hate it in every military base thing is that one guy. Look, we can use this. We just gotta
Yeah,
harness this, even though that's like killing everything and stuff. We're just like,
we
all
gotta
right,
understand
dude.
this. Yeah, and yeah, because like that whole thing is like to the whole Resident Evil thing. Like, oh, we have to do this because of the corporation. Like, dude, there is no economy in the world. Like,
it,
who
or,
are you fighting for?
or it's like every time something bad happens, America's like nuke it. And you're like, what the?
There are other responses. Um, yeah, I mean, like my whole the parts that I love are when they're trying to figure out what's going on because the subjects have blocked the ports from view, and I
Yeah,
always do like that part too. Is like this is before CCTV, which is yeah, that's pretty feasible. Like 1940s, they didn't have this kind of
yeah.
thing.
They use their peanut butter and jellies and went, don't look at us.
Um, but yeah, just that, and then when they go into the room and then they kind of have that freak out, it reminds me so much of Hellraiser, like the
Yeah,
when the body is like disseminated onto the floor and like in different parts on the floor, but the person's still alive,
yeah.
and so
I
I
do.
always
I always like when humans are like so distressed or like so like just crazy that they can just like pull body parts off or just like geez.
yeah. But yeah, like this one has always stuck with us, and but yeah, the thing is, though, is I still like the ending, I really do,
Yeah,
because it kind of just like it ends without telling you everything, and so you really do want to know is was this real? Was this what is this? And then like 15 years later, we're still talking about this. Like that is a
I do
uh
love the time too. It's not long. It's
mm-mm,
pretty
yeah,
short.
it's almost a perfect length, I
Yeah.
think. Also, I don't know who wrote this. I was going to mention the author, but
Oh
there's no
shoot.
confirmed. Well, no, there's no confirmed author about who it is.
I was gonna ask who
Is
you got. Who you Did you just
listen
do
to.
Mr. Creepypasta?
I listened to him. I watched Wendigoons and Papa Meat's breakdown as well.
Mm.
I also did a. It's called uh, just Creepy Pasta Presents. It's this YouTube channel. They're pretty old. I think they're one of the original ones to do it.
I
Um,
always liked Creeps McPasta.
Yeah, Creeps and Pastas. Yeah, his is good. I
Yeah,
like that one too. And that's the thing is that this story is so old that literally everybody, every creepypasta channel has covered this one, uh, and there are so many versions to listen to, and everybody else has like their own little tweaks to it. I think.
yeah.
Um,
It's funny nowadays, but seeing all the different YouTube creepypasta YouTubers is just the play on creepypasta, like their
mhm.
names. I never realized that like growing up, but it's always just like creepy creep McPasta pasta or like Junior Pasta Creep or
Unlike B Busta, see, he's dying. Chat, everybody, or sorry, not chat, viewers. He's dying.
a legend.
Yeah. Well, hell, even our chat or even our show here is that's good pasta. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's easy, it's fun.
yeah. Honestly, we should have done spooky spaghetti. Honestly, that probably would have been funnier. But oh well. We're locked in now. We're locked in. 4 episodes in. We're
Revolting
locked in.
ravioli. Just
Yeah.
go through all the
Oh,
pastas.
languid linguine. But yeah, like this is a when people ask me like what's a good creepy pasta to listen to, I always recommend this one and Horror from the Vault because these two are very solid, and even though they are slightly different, they still have like the body horror type stuff. But honestly, that is what most creepy pastas are about. At least from this time period.
Yeah.
Um,
And this one
a lot of
isn't.
that.
Well, it is. This one's pretty grotesque. I was not gonna.
It is, but if you can get past this one, you can get past most.
Yeah.
Like really.
There are some that are. They're just like, oh, I was walking on entrails and.
Yeah, well, and that's when it goes into schlock, though.
Yeah.
This one doesn't overstay its welcome with its like gratuitous violence.
Yeah.
Like it says it, and then it says the people are horrified by it, not just like we gotta learn more. Then you have that one guy, he's like, no, we gotta learn more. Then they kill him. It's like, yeah, that's the way your response to
I
it.
do like that response because usually they just keep that guy alive until he just dies randomly.
No, bad. So yeah, like again, this is. one of the granddaddy like all time famous ones. If you're learning about this from us, wow, congrats! I can't
That,
believe you did that, and
that
thank you, by the way.
especially in a time with Wendigoon and
Yeah. Okay. Here's something about Wendigo and Papa Me. They keep. I don't know if they have access to my notes, but every time that they come out with a video, it's because I've been wanting to do it for the past few. Even what me and Jared are doing, I've been wanting to do this for like what, like a year and a half or something like that,
mm,
like a long time. Because me and Jared have been obsessed with creepypasta since we were like in our 20s, and every time that they do one, I'm like, God dang it! That was what I had planned. So. Sorry if we seem to be piggybacking off of them, but literally that's the same line of thought that me and Jared have. Um, but
wait
especially
till we
this
all
one.
get to the crap.
Oh yeah, oh my god, the schlock. I don't know if we're gonna cover Jeff the Killer. I don't. I've never
I
really
don't think
liked
we
that
have
one.
anything to say.
Well, it's just I don't like that one. I'll be honest with you. I really don't. It's just
We should just do it to read it then.
the reading it. We could do a reading of it, but for analysis, it's way too emo and like Tumblr
My
esque.
mom's
Like
such a bee.
yeah, it's like I didn't want to go to that birthday party, but she made me. I'm like, you're a dick, kid. Anyway, Jared, do you got anything else to say about our creepy pasta?
No, this is
No,
probably my favorite though.
really, of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, wow. Well, it's all downhill from here then.
Yeah. Although
Um,
hearing that pen pal one, that one was really good. I only read
that
one of the sections, but hearing it all, it's like,
that is one of not my OGs, but that is one of the ones my brother got into even before I did
yeah.
because he found it. He's like, "Hey, have you listened to this one?" I'm like, "No." And so that was his favorite for a long time. Um, but we might do that one, but that one's a long one. Same with Baraska.
We might
Baraska was one I've been wanting to do for a long time,
we
but
can do that one
that's
like
like a
next year.
that's like a 7 hour creepy pasta. It's long. So
We're reading every sentence.
oh god. Do you have one or do you want me to announce the next one we're doing?
Yeah, you can announce the next one. The last time
Okay.
I announced one, they didn't watch it, so I give up.
Well, okay, we say that, but I thank you for all the views that you guys have been giving us and all the likes. This has been great. Like we haven't had this kind of engagement on the channel in a while, and we really appreciate it. If you guys have any requests, put them down in the comments. Like we're gonna run out of like good ones eventually, so we need some help because I don't want to do the schlock.
If you have an
So
original and it's good, who knows? Who knows?
maybe we can get you famous, or
Maybe
you can
we
get us
want some
famous.
of
I
your
don't know.
pasta.
Dust my wets, Jared.
Oh, I love that saying.
All right. So the next one we're going to be doing is actually a continuation of our first one that we did, Horror from the Vault, Ash Cloud. This is probably my favorite of the Horror from the Vault quadrilogy, I guess
Man, you're
you
an
call it.
ash cloud.
How dare you? So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Hopefully, we'll be back next week if Jared doesn't die on us again.
No
So
promises.
anyway,
I'm sucking in that gas.
no, Jared, get that man some gas X. All right, everybody, good to see y'all. So have a good night and stay creepy. Bye.